Hi, I'm Liz Seeley, founder of Starry-Eyed Strategy, and I help you turn creativity into your greatest competitive advantage. After decades partnering with the world's best, biggest, and most beloved brands, I want to take you behind the scenes to see how the most creative leaders turn ideas into impact. Each episode features leaders from top CEOs and CMOs to founders and authors, revealing how they stay inspired to create brands that launch and last, and how you can do it too. You'll walk away with practical lessons and tools you can use, whether you're repositioning your brand, rallying your team, or planning your next big launch. So let's get started and stay starry-eyed. My guest today is Todd Smith. He's a good friend of mine, a loving husband, an awesome dad of 5, president of Swig, the original dirty soda brand that has turned a favorite beverage into a wild national craze. Before joining Swig, Todd, you helped lead marketing at some of the most recognizable brands in restaurants, especially including Cafe Rio, Sonic, Wendy's, Yum Brands, and more. I think I heard you rose from VP of marketing to president at Sonic during some wild innovation breakthroughs. I love how you brought the mix of creativity and discipline across these concepts and also co-founded your own concepts, which we'll get into with ROCTACO and Flake, even served on the board of directors at Potbelly. And today you're helping scale this fan favorite beverage brand while protecting what makes it special. I want to get into that. And I especially appreciate that you're known for a people first leadership style, kind of building that pure fun of things like donning cheesehead hats and decorating cubicles or, later on leading complete teams. So Todd, welcome to Stay Starry-Eyed.
Thank you, Liz. I appreciate it. That is quite the intro. That makes me sound way better than I actually am. So that's very nice of you. Thank you.
Well, we've known each other for a long time. You've done a lot of things. As we begin, I'd love for you to speak directly to the brand leader listening and tell them a little bit about what you hope they'll take away from our conversation today. What's something that you hope they'll try or think differently about for their own brand and biz?
I think probably the biggest thing I hope people take away is that the success that you find is actually far less tied to, I think, the actual, maybe the results that people would typically look at, right? Like, yes, you have to be successful financially to have a business that can sort of realize its potential, right? And create opportunities for others. But I've learned, I think, in my career that success comes in so many different forms. And typically the beginning of that is when you go do something, you go take a risk and you go do something that's maybe a little bit scary. When you step into a dark room, not knowing exactly what's on the other side. And I've had those things work out and I've actually had them fail miserably. And so, and it's still fine, right? Like it's still fine. Life is still great. We've learned some incredible things. And so I think that's probably the biggest thing is that, don't be so cautious and careful to get every single step right and perfect, because that actually is not even possible anyway. Sort of drive yourself crazy doing it, instead, take some risks, do some interesting things, fun things. It'll be a lot more rewarding for sure. So,
and you'll learn a lot as well. What are examples of that, Todd? When did you, I love how you said, go into the dark room, see what's on the other side of that door.
Yeah,
what's a time that it worked out really well? And what's a time that it didn't work out at all?
Oh man. So I will tell you, I'll give you the one that didn't work out very well. First. So when we first left Sonic, this would have been in 2017, we moved to Utah and started our own restaurant group with a couple of partners. And it was a couple of different things. It was 2 concepts that we were starting. Or actually 2 concepts that I had sort of kind of designed on paper and then just stuck on a shelf and hadn't done anything with really. That's really why we came to Utah, was to start this restaurant group. Primarily for those 2, but as sort of a transition period, we also became franchisees of a brand. I became a franchisee for the first time of a brand called Core Life Eatery. And we were, I think, franchise number 2 for them, the second franchisee for them. And we opened 4 stores in 18 months with them. Like we really, really got after it. Opened a lot of really great locations. We were super excited about it, full effort. I mean, everybody fully engaged. And things are actually going really good. And they were, it looked like it was going to be wildly successful. And we were on a pretty good trajectory. And then COVID happened. And Core Life Eatery is a very health focused, very health conscious brand, I would say, even beyond the brands that, are like traditionally healthy. This one is like all about your macros, and it's all about bone broth, and it's like, gluten free to an extreme. Like, it's very, very health focused. And as probably anybody listening to this that went through the pandemic knows, that was like everybody wearing sweats for 2 years and nobody eating healthy. And it was like
comfort food galore.
Yeah. And everybody was like, you know what, forget it. The only thing that I can really do right now to make me feel better is to just kind of eat whatever. I think you saw that. It's hindsight's always 2020, but if you look back on COVID and that period of time, there were a lot of brands that it was actually a windfall for them. They actually had a huge boost in sales, a lot of brands, but none of the health brands. The healthier brands did not do well in that time. And unfortunately, we were one of those brands. And we sort of weathered the storm through most of COVID. I mean, there were probably a year and a half of that time. We just kind of kept believing that it was going to be fine, wrote a lot of checks out of pocket for things, continued to just kind of invest in with the belief that it was going to turn, and it never turned. It just never turned. We got clear to the end of COVID. Even as we were coming out of COVID, it just never turned. And we ended up closing all 4 of those and exited the brand, the whole thing. It was a bummer. It's not what we wanted at all. It's not what we anticipated. Man, it was costly. If you talk about, costly from a financial standpoint, I mean, we lost massive, massive, massive amounts of money on that thing. But we also learned some really great lessons, I think. Timing is actually a big part of this whole thing. You do have to get your timing right. I think too, like in hindsight, if I would look back on that, I probably wouldn't have thrown good money after bad quite as long as we did, just kind of recognize that, hey, maybe this one isn't going to work. And that's okay. So, huge lesson. Financially, super costly. There was a period of time where I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if we'll ever recover from this, right? Like, because it was tough. And it's one of the situations, we're a small franchisee. I had personal guarantees on all of the leases as well. And I will tell you, like, there's nothing quite like sitting there thinking, man, what do we do? Like, as these are going down, what do we do? I've got a personal guarantee on all this stuff. That's a crazy place to be. You learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about resilience. You learn a lot about who your partners are. You learn a lot about, what you're able to get through. And thank heavens we did get through it, and it's fine. We got through it. Scary time.
And those were awesome concepts. I visited when I was skiing in Park City. Beautiful stores, awesome menus. But you're exactly right. Timing is everything. And how many partners was it with you?
2.
2.
Yeah. 2 brothers with me. Not my brothers. They were brothers, just acquaintances of mine. And then I think one of the fun things and very rewarding things with stepping into the dark was ROCTACO, which was what we really kind of left. We really left Sonic to do. It's a brand that I had sort of thought of, years before and just never did anything with. And man, that process is extraordinary. If you've never built anything from scratch, I mean, truly from scratch, like staring at a white piece of paper in front of you, totally blank, and you've got to create everything. You've got to figure out, how are we going to do recipes? How are we going to operationalize it? Where are we going to source? Where are we going to put it? What's the design look like? How are we going to build it? It is everything. There's nothing. You work the register, you work expo, you just kind of deal with customers, kind of everything. What an extraordinary thing. And that was a concept that we actually didn't borrow any money for. We just bootstrapped. We built it with our own money. We picked a location. I remember the day we picked the location. It's in an alleyway in Salt Lake City. And it's the weirdest location. It's not a location that I've been in restaurants for 20 years. It's not a location I would approve for anybody. Right? Really, truly. It was like not super visible, down an alleyway. Both neighbors were already out. It was not, but it was the only place that would actually lease to us because we were totally unknown.
Yeah.
And so we leaned way into that and leaned way into this idea of it being a really funky, very cool space. The building was built in 1890.
Oh,
and
wow.
was originally a carriage house for actual like horse and buggy carriage house is what it originally was. And we tore it all apart, but left the amazing brick, took everything down to dirt on the inside. And then we just created, I mean, just a really interesting, super fun space, kind of eclectic type space on the inside. We made it look like we had pushed a shipping container into the front of the building, all this stuff, right? Like it's
Let's
crazy
come to that
stuff.
one next.
And it's really fun. And it was, I remember the day before we opened, I looked at my wife and I said, you know, there is something comforting about having an idea that you never do anything because people can't reject it. And you're sitting there thinking, man, like we're about to find out if this is like something or not. Like, do people, do they catch the vision or do they just reject it? And that's like it's a really scary moment where you're like, literally we are about to step into the dark. I have no idea what's on the other side. We've spent all this time and energy and money. It was 3 years that we spent building and designing.
No consumer testing. No, like, what do you want to eat? No, what do you want it to look like? Just
testing,
pure vision.
Yeah, with a marketing background, you would think there'd be a lot of consumer testing. There was not. It was pure vision. That's it. That's all. And,
you've done this long enough.
Yeah, and we just celebrated are we in our fifth year now of being open? We have won all kinds of rewards for best in state. We won best new fast casual concept in Salt Lake the year after we opened.
Wow.
And I look at the Google reviews, I look at them every morning, and I'm blown away at the reaction that people have. I think we have a 4.6 or 4.7 on Google or something like that, a really solid score. And it's just like, it's really shocking. And I drive by it, and I think maybe the funnest thing, I was standing in a line the other day, waiting for something completely unrelated to food. And a guy said, what do you do for work? And I said, I'm in the food business, blah, blah, blah. And he said, what is it? We talked about Swig. And he said, well, how'd you get out here? I told him, we came out, started a restaurant group. Oh, which restaurant? I said, it's a little taco shop in Salt Lake. It's called ROCTACO. And he stops and he goes, oh my gosh, ROCTACO is my absolute favorite. I love that place. Like, that's the greatest place. I love it. Those are really gratifying moments. They really are. Like, they're unique. It gives you a sense of like accomplishment. And I would tell you, ROCTACO is a long way from like financially being where we ultimately would like it to be. It's like really positive. Like, it's doing really, really well, but it's a single location, under 1,500 square feet in an alleyway in Salt Lake City. Yeah. And so we're looking at what do we do with that? How do we expand it? Do we do other things with it? But just this sense of like, man, we created something that people really appreciate and has kind of gone through that window of like, I think the number is 80 plus, 90 plus % of restaurants fail in the first 3 years. Get through that is actually really gratifying. And that one, actually, we started building in the middle of COVID. Like, we were building it, and like, I remember we closed down our construction for a couple of weeks because we couldn't get guys out to work. And I was like, dang, should we be doing this at all? So I don't know. It's crazy. It's fun. It's really amazing. And, and I would tell you, I learned a ton from both the success and from the utter failure of those two concepts. So, it's pretty fun. That dark is not as scary as you think it is. I can promise.
And like you said, you're still here. You made it.
You're still here.
One worked, one didn't.
That's
you
right.
Still move forward, and at least
that's right. I mean, if I told you how much money I lost on Core Life Eater, it would make your eyes water. But listen, we're still here, right? Like, you're still here. There's always actually, the funny thing I have learned about this whole thing is there's actually always more money to be made. People worry about the wrong stuff. Like, you're worrying about that, and you do have to pay attention to finances, obviously. But if you're really passionate about what you do and you're good at what you do and you really love doing it, there is more money to be made. There really is. Like, a failure is just that. It's really not even a failure. It's just an opportunity to learn. You learn a lot. Some of it's what not to do. Some of it is what you do want to do. But I think we obsess a little bit too much about certain elements of that, and it holds us back, right? It holds us back. So we've been pretty lucky that, through the good and the bad, we're still here. We're doing fine.
That's right. When you think about all the different brands, one we worked at together, which was Yum, and our KFC days. We also worked together at Wendy's. When you think back at all the places that you've been, where does some of that boldness come from? How did you curate the courage, but also the creativity to not only come up with your own ideas, but execute those and maybe some others?
I'm going to tell you two quick. I'll try to make it quick. I'm very verbose. I apologize, but two quick stories that I could actually track it back to.
Yeah.
One was when I was an associate brand manager at KFC, brand new, right out of school, first real job in my entire life, like real paying job. And Liz, as you would remember, there was a really big cafeteria at the headquarters in Louisville, Kentucky.
The one place in the world where all 5 brands come together.
That is it. They're all together in one place. At least at the time, they obviously offloaded a couple, but yeah, at the time, all 5 were there. And you'd have this like big cafeteria and people would go down there and, eat lunch and whatever. And I remember it was very famous that David Novak, who was the CEO at the time, I love David. I love that man. I'm very grateful to him and for the leadership and mentorship that he showed me when he really didn't have to early in my career. I'm really grateful for him. Everybody knew that David would have a tendency to come down to that cafeteria and sort of just wander around. And typically people would kind of like not make eye contact, like, don't talk to me kind of thing. Cause it was nervous. It's nerve wracking to have David down there, very gregarious, great question asker. And I happened to be sitting by myself at a table because I was trying to do a super fast lunch, get back to work on some things. And I look up and David was standing at the end of the table and he said, "Hey, aren't you Todd?" And I was like, "Yeah, I am." And he's like, "You're one of our brand new associate brand managers with KFC." I was like, "I am." First of all, I was blown away that he knew who I was. Like, that is weird, honestly. Like, it's pretty extraordinary. And he said, "Can I eat lunch with you?" I was like, "Sure." Yeah, why not? So he sat down and then he just started asking these questions, and he always had such good questions, kind of probing questions. And one of his questions was, "What do you think if you had the reins at KFC, what would you do? Like, what would you do differently?" And I remember him looking at me and saying, don't tell me what you think I want to hear. I want you to be bold and tell me what you actually think." And I'm grateful that I actually took that to heart, and I told him what I actually thought.
What'd you think?
It was pretty direct. It was pretty direct. I had just gotten done reading a book called Eating the Big Fish, which is a very old book now. It would be totally irrelevant now because this was all pre-social media. That's how old I am. But the iPhone came out in 2007. My first job started in 2006, January of 2006. So I was pre-iPhone too. But the book had sort of like was fresh on my mind. And I talked about how I thought KFC was in an interesting place where they could behave like a challenger brand, but could be a challenger brand at scale, which is really unique. And I said most of the time at the time, I felt like KFC was more protective of this idea of being the biggest than they were in terms of how the consumer thought. The consumer wasn't thinking of them as a leader. At the time, Chick-fil-A was just sort of on the come. And KFC was candidly probably a little flat-footed at the time in their thinking. And so I just kind of told him, like, I think that we should be a lot more bold in our thinking. We need to behave more like a small fish, but we have the resources to be a big fish. And that's a unique combination. If you can put those two things together, we could do some pretty extraordinary things. And he looked at me. And again, I was probably overly direct for someone who had no business being direct. He looked at me and said, "Hey, would you do me a favor? Would you send that to me in an email?" And I was like, "Yeah, I can do that." So I wrote it up. I sent it to him in an email. I figured, oh, that's the end of that. Like, no big deal. And within like 2 weeks, I was walking down the hallway and one of the other brand presidents stopped me in the hallway and he said, "That's quite the memo you sent." I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "That little email you sent to David Novak." He sent that around to all of the brand presidents, all the brand leadership in all 5 brands.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, oh my gosh, that's terrifying. Right. It actually gave me probably the seeds of confidence to behave boldly. Right? The seeds of confidence to actually have a point of view and not be afraid to share that point of view. You don't be obnoxious with it, right? But like when there's an opportunity to share and someone's open to it, share, right? Like share. the way you think. It might not be right, but like you certainly can't miss from sharing. So that's the first story. The second story, I'll try to make the second one faster, was actually also with a Yum alumnus, but at a different brand. So James O'Reilly, who is one of my most beloved, like such a good friend. James is the one who actually gave me my first job out of graduate school. He was, at the time, I think he was the VP of marketing. Scott Bergen was the CMO at KFC when they hired me out of graduate school. And I didn't ever actually report to James at KFC because he was way too high and I was way too low. He eventually became the CMO when I was there, but I had a really good relationship with him and just really respected him, really loved the guy. And he moved on to other things. I stayed at KFC, went to Wendy's, blah, blah, blah. We get reconnected because he had taken the job as the CMO at Sonic. And he called me when I was at Wendy's. And I was not actually in a spot where I wanted to move. I actually really enjoyed Wendy's. I had only been there for about 2.5 years. I was loving it. And he said, hey, I need help at Sonic. Like they're on a 4-year decline in sales. We really need to turn this thing around. He's like, you're the guy that I want to do this with. And he said to me, I promise you, if you come over as my VP of marketing, I will let you run the department how you want to run it. And he's like, you will develop into a CMO because I will let you run the department. You will make the decisions. I will support you, but you'll make them. And I believed him, and doggone if he wasn't true to his word, right, when I got there. And so he let me do it. And I think a combination of sort of that experience with David, and then, of course, the combination of James kind of saying, hey, go do it, and letting me do it, taught me that boldness is not a bad thing. Like we probably should be a little bit more bold than we usually are in terms of thinking differently. We get caught in incremental thinking a lot because we're worried about what we're going to lose versus bold thinking, which is usually about what we could potentially gain. And so not getting caught in that incremental thinking, I can honestly probably trace back to David and to James on those two.
Brilliant examples. I love the idea of like being in the right place and being able to share your true thoughts. What would you say to like these up and coming brand leaders with that in mind, especially when they don't have the FaceTime that we were lucky enough to have when everybody's working online?
What would I say? Well, okay, so I think that there are two, probably I would actually come at that question in two ways. One is actually for the brand leaders. The other one is for those who want to become brand leaders. So first, for the brand leaders, stop telling people that you want to hear what they really think and then behaving in a way that tells them you don't want to hear what they really think. It is the most damaging thing you can do to young people. Like, do not behave that way. And if you think I'm not talking to you, I'm actually probably talking to you, right? Like, I've seen it a billion times. I've never met a brand leader anywhere that says, hey, I don't want to hear what you have to actually say. All of them say, I want to hear the truth. I want to hear. I don't have to be right all the time. I want to hear the truth about what's actually happening. But then they behave in ways in meetings where that is not even close to true. Right? Things come up that challenge their own assumptions or challenge the decisions that they have made and become super territorial. And they sort of block that off. And I will tell you, the minute you do that, you completely turn off your young people and you turn off the opportunity to ever get anything breakthrough from them because you've taught them through your actions that your words don't matter. It is super damaging. I've experienced that as a young leader, and I've probably early in my career, probably did do a very good job of actually living the way I wanted to in terms of that.
Well, especially when you're shut down the first time, you're like, and I won't do that anymore. And
yeah.
I may find my next position where my input is valued.
For sure. And I will tell you where I learned this in real ways is when I went from being the president of a public company at Sonic to running the cash register at my own startup. There's nothing that will reset your world like doing this, where everybody is telling you what you want to hear, to there ain't a single person who's helping you with anything here, right? And when I ended up getting back into a brand, that experience completely changed me, because I realized that, like, man, I wasn't doing this right before, right? Like, genuinely, you need to be okay being wrong, and you need to be like really not fake, really okay being wrong. with young people, what I would say to them is when there are opportunities given, hopefully with leaders that give them to you, when there's opportunities given and they tell you to share and be bold and help them, to a certain extent, you should believe them. You'll learn really, really quick if that's true, but you should believe them. And so go be bold. Go do it. Don't be so dang afraid that you're going to lose something. The worst that can happen is that you discover you're in a situation that actually isn't right for you. And then you can find the right situation for you. You can move on. And so I would say, take the opportunities. Don't be obnoxious, but be bold, be strategic. And by the way, don't think, and the exact same thing applies to young people. Don't think that your opinion is right all the time. Recognize that unless you're in accounting or in medical, there's usually not a right and a wrong answer, right? The entire world is gray. The entire world is gray. And you can actually probably, you could probably solve the same problem, millions of different ways satisfactorily. Loosen up on being so rigid about how problems have to be solved, the steps to get there, and focus more on the issue to be solved and have we solved it, and less on the path to actually get there. And I think that actually applies up the chain and down the chain.
I love it. I think Sir Ken Robinson said, "You'll never come up with anything original if you're not prepared to be wrong."
It is 100%, 100% true. 100%. My favorite analogy of all time is the dark room analogy. Imagine that you are put into a dark room, can't see anything in front of your face, pitch black. You have a group of people behind you, and you know that your only job is to get them across the room safely. And the only thing they give you to do it is a spotlight. What do? I actually ask this question to people when I interview them. And usually the answer is some form of, I'll hold the light the path, they'll follow me across the room, which is okay. You can do that. I much prefer the answer, I'll hang the light in the middle of the room and let it illuminate the entire room and let people find their way across the room. The goal is just to get across the room. And so you can accomplish that in a ton of different ways. It's magical when you allow people to self-discover, right? When you, now your job as a leader is to make sure the goal is accomplished, right? You still have to get the task done, but stop being so rigid about how it gets done. It's dangerous, and you squash young people. It's not good.
Love it. And what a humbling, transition to how you would do it.
Oh my gosh, Liz, it's crazy. Like you learn really, really quick, like who are true friends of yours and who were big fans of your title. When you make a change like that, you learn very quickly, like who was close to you because you were the president of a big public company and they thought they could get something from you, and who actually were good friends. It's been remarkable, right? It's actually amazing. Been really remarkable. It's probably why you and I are such good friends.
I was going to say, you figure out who your forever friends are going to be.
You really do. You really do.
That's learning.
It was actually a gift, a huge gift, honestly.
Amazing. Well, when you think about teams today, would love to hear a little bit about your leadership style now, because you've seen so many different brands, so many different team structures. How do you help your team today to stay creative and connected with your guests?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest thing for us, especially at Swig is a really unique brand. Astronomical growth, really, really, really good social brand, and one that has just this crazy following on social. It's incredible. I'm super grateful for it. Like it's a red hot brand right now. We have an extraordinary team that makes that happen. And what I have honestly learned with this team is this is about asking questions to get them to challenge themselves to work, like to step it up, rather than it is challenging their actual behaviors, if that makes sense. And
fascinating.
So
yeah.
Most of my time with the team is letting them genuinely giving them space to do amazing things, because they do amazing things. And so I just give them space. And then I'm just really careful to ask questions that help them maybe think differently about it, right? Like, how could we do something a little bit bigger? Here's one of the very audacious, I probably shouldn't even share this, but I'll share it anyway. We do merchandise drops, and they're super successful. We do these we'll do like sweatshirts, and we'll do tumblers and all that kind of stuff. And I'm so grateful that we have fans who really love that stuff, and they do really, really well. They sell out every single time. And one of the challenges I gave our CMO, who's really young and super sharp. He's one of the smartest he's so much smarter than I am, so much more intuitive than I am that sometimes it's hard to keep up with him. He's just really, really good. And I asked him, if we were to think about merchandising, not from a food brand perspective, if we were to think about it from great merchandising perspective, where would you go? And the first place he went was Nike. I was like, I agree. Fantastic. What about Nike is unique? What do they do? He's like, the collaborations are incredible. I said, they are incredible. They're so incredible, in fact, that unless you get on the drop of a really good Nike collab, you're going to pay probably 3-4x for a pair of shoes unless you're in the drop, right? Because they really, really know how, and the resale market has become. So the challenge I gave him is, what would it look like if we did merchandise, both in terms of like limiting the numbers and collaborations where we could actually sell for 2, 3, 4x on a secondary market, and like people are dying to get in the drop because they can resell at a bigger number. What would that sort of look like? And my gosh, the way that it changed his thinking, it just opened up a whole new world for him, like a completely new world where he is thinking about merchandising totally different than we did before. Stuff that was really, and it's already very successful, like it always has been. We just did a drop for our first ever Halloween drop. We did a ton. There's this like iridescent thing on it. We didn't collaborate with anybody; it was just ours. But we did kind of a more limited run, and we just put a ton of effort into that one. And doggone, if you sent me a text the other day, and he's like, "It's all the text said it was a picture, and it just put at the bottom, it's happening." And it was a lady who was selling 2 of our tumblers online for about double what she paid for them because they were already sold out. I had to go and give him a hug. I was like, this is awesome. Like, you have done something really incredible here. So I think a lot of it is asking and challenging in ways that they understand. You're creating space for them to be really, really great. And if it falls short of great, that's okay. We just learn good things and we keep moving forward. And so I think for me, my leadership style has become much more that. It's become really supportive. It's, there's a transition you have to go through as a leader from being the best in the room to enabling the best in the room. And like, you get to a leadership spot because typically you're the very best at what you do. And then all of a sudden you're asked to create a team that's the best at what they do, and you can't be the best anymore. And it took me a minute to get comfortable with the idea of not being the best in the room anymore. Having a team that's actually fundamentally better at social and marketing and creative than I am is awesome. It's just it's the neatest thing to see. So I guess that's how my style has probably changed, is really genuinely being more of a supportive and a good question asker.
And helping them to think bigger. I love the way you pose that question of like, look at cross-category inspiration to come up with something. We're finally getting around, because there's so much to learn. We're finally getting around to a little bit more about Swig. Can you explain to those who may have not tasted it yet? Swig, we know, started this culture craze that's just
dirty soda. Yeah.
Dirty soda in a world that feels like everything's been done and there are no new ideas, having worked in innovation together for a long time. We know that's never true, but Swig created this all new beverage. What happened and what made it catch on? Why is it so red hot?
Just incredible. 2010, created in Southern Utah. We've actually been around a lot longer than people think, 15 years. We didn't create the dirty soda category. We were the first to call it that. We created the craze, and it's adding flavors, fruits, and creams to your everyday soda type of thing to create all these different sort of concoctions. It sounds much simpler, which is why we get copied a lot. Like, there's probably more copycats of dirty soda now than maybe any other category for right now. It's everywhere. It's gas
everywhere,
station.
Every restaurant, every gas station, every coffee shop. And you're like, does it fit your brand? No, but we're doing it. And wasn't there a lawsuit about that where it was being defended? What happened with that?
That was way back with like Sodalicious way back in the day. And thank heavens that got settled. I couldn't even tell you how that got settled. I can't really, because I wasn't at the brand at the time. But yeah, there's just a ton of copycats. I won't say the brand on here, but I did see a very large national brand yesterday on social. They had borrowed a celebrity from a very popular reality TV show, and she was sort of dancing around in their lobby doing dirty soda. And she poured this drink and then just poured some cream in it. It was like, there it is, dirty soda. And it made me chuckle because I was like, that's actually not even it. Like, that's not it. That's not it. That's actually not the magic of Swig. Our products are incredible. That's not the magic of Swig. Our experience is the magic of Swig. What makes Swig incredible are the team members that we have. We call them day makers. We don't call them team members. We call them day makers because they know their job is to look across and make your day. And they do it incredibly well. I'm blown away. I'm absolutely blown away at the young people we have at our stores who take that to heart. And so, yes, dirty soda is incredible. It's an incredible category because it's hyper personalization and it's a ton of creativity and it's super fun and it's a daily thing because, it's an easy thing to buy daily. And so we're super grateful for that. It's very similar to coffee in that sense that it's a sort of a daily, a daily habitual type
ritual
purchase, which we love. It's a ritual is a great way to say it. We're grateful for that. We know that our job is to make sure when you come to a Swig, it feels different than everybody else. And that is actually why when people ask me, are you worried about all the competition? My answer is typically no. I'm not worried about it because the way I see it, they're just kind of bringing more awareness to a dirty soda category. And I'm confident when you come to a Swig, it's going to be a different experience. It's going to be more special than where you've been before. So we hyper focus on speed. We hyper focus on day makers. I mean, we have the most extraordinary stories, Liz, I will tell you, of people who have gone through the drive and they send them to us all the time. There's one in Louisville, Kentucky, one of our franchise partners out there. They had a regular that would go through every single day. They knew her name. They knew her drink. She didn't come through for 2 weeks because she had a baby. When she came back through, they're like, Maggie, welcome back. We love having you back. Or she would visit every day. So the next day she came through and the team had bought her baby a onesie and a couple of little toys. And they're like, we just want to welcome your little one. Right? That is not something that happens at most brands. It is super extraordinary, super unique. And it is the focus of what we do. Day making is the focus of what we do. We talk about it constantly. And so that's actually really what makes Swig super special, just how people feel when they get through it. And by the way, our drink is the best in the industry, right? Like we spend a ton of time on what's our carbonation process and what is our innovation. We're actually creating our own flavors. So you actually can't get a Swig anywhere but here. We're producing our own flavors. We do all of our own baked goods now. We are really genuinely creating a moat around the brand so that while you might get soda with flavor elsewhere, you can't get a Swig anywhere but at Swig. And it is our massive focus right now. And I'm super grateful to be at a brand like Swig. There are very few brands like this that I've ever come across in my career, where your customers take ownership of the brand at the level that they have a Swig. We're super grateful for them. They're incredible. So it's
brilliant. I love the in-house manufacturing too. No, only Kava does stuff like that, where they're actually creating the ingredients themselves all in.
It matters to us, right? Like it really does matter to us. Like we take it very seriously. It's not just another soda with flavor. That's what's happening, and people are calling it dirty soda.
Exactly.
That's fine. But if you get to a Swig, you'll see the difference for sure.
I love it. I can't wait to come. When you think about the brand's North Star, which is a big proponent of Starry-Eyed, how was that created? Obviously, Nicole, the founder, inspiration behind how is that created and how do you stay true to that, especially with all of the up and coming innovation efforts?
Yeah, it's really interesting. So, Nicole would actually, she was a big beverage drinker. She would actually go to another fast food brand on a daily basis to have her drink. And she said, well, the drink was okay. The experience was lacking. And so from the very beginning, the very, very beginning of our founding, it was built in that we wanted this to be a special experience. We wanted to remember who you are, especially our regulars. Our North Star has always been, how do we make you feel, right? As you come through, how do we make you feel? You have an opportunity in every interaction with people throughout the day. This is just as in food. It's every interaction you have. You have an opportunity to leave someone a little bit better than how you found them. Just a little bit, right? It doesn't have to be in big ways. And I'm really grateful that was actually part of the ethos when we were founded. Our North Star was, how do we leave you feeling? And that is 15 years later. It's even more of an emphasis now than it was actually in the early days. And so part of the idea that we're making our own flavors and we try to move as quickly as we can in the drive-through to keep our times down and that kind of stuff. All of that goes to, how do we make you feel? If you have a drink that first sip that you get of your drink is so important. It's so important. It has to have the right burn from the carbonation. It has to have the right like flavor punch. It has to be the right temperature. We use a specific straw that's actually a little bit heavier material than usual because it doesn't collapse at all. It's a slightly bigger diameter than a typical straw. Like, these are all the things we think about so that very first drink lives up to the experience, and it's how it makes you feel. The product can do it. Our day makers can do it. The speed of the line can do it. There's a whole bunch of ways you can do it. And we try to line all of those up. So our North Star really is, what's the experience? How do you feel when you come through a swig? And are we paying attention to every touch point that will make that happen?
I love that. All the details come together. Well, with our time being a little short, Todd, I'm going to switch gears a little bit. You once told me that you spend 100% of your time in your day job, 100% of your time on your own brands, 100% of your time on your family. How do you really do it? Tell me your secret.
It is being super, super focused when you're in a space. Super focused. I actually believe that one of the worst things, I don't know who came up with the idea of multitasking. I don't know who created that word. I don't know who it is, but whoever it is, they should be shunned, right? Because it's not a thing. And unfortunately, it gets used as a weapon. Oh, you just need to multitask. Multitasking is not a thing. It's not a thing. It should be thrown out of our lexicon. Not a thing. What is a thing is being fully focused on the task at hand while you're on the task.
Yes.
And you owe it to whatever is in front of you to give 100% of your attention and support to that while you're doing it. And that means when you're at work and you're on a problem or you're with somebody, you focused on it. Put your dang phone down. Close your computer. Don't have it open. Don't take a computer to a meeting. There's no reason to have a computer in a meeting unless you're going to be distracted, or if you're presenting, maybe, right? I park my phone. Actually, I don't usually take it to meetings anymore either, because I know that it's going to distract me. I know it. And so just be focused. And by the way, when you get home, your kids and your spouse or whomever you're with, they deserve 100% of your focus. So give it to them. Give it to them. I got off of social media a couple of years ago, probably 3 or 4 years ago now. It was the greatest thing I've ever done. It was the greatest thing I've ever done. I have one account that helps me monitor just kind of our business accounts.
That's what I was going to say. The only reason you need that is to see what you should be doing from a brand standpoint.
Yeah, purely for that.
Not all day.
But it really, one of the greatest things ever was actually getting off of it, because it allowed me to focus.
Mm-hmm.
Get focused. The people around you deserve your focus.
That's right.
They really do. In whatever you're doing, stay focused. So forget the idea of multitasking. And that's how I can tell you, Liz, in all honesty, that I spent 100% of my time on each of those things, because it's only for that stretch of time and you stay really focused on it. It makes a huge difference.
And then how do you stay creative day to day? How do you either come up with those brilliant questions for the team and or help contribute with the next big idea?
Yeah. I think one of the keys to that is not taking yourself too seriously, one, and two, believing that you are creative. You have to believe that you're creative. You have to believe that you can create something. And when you get to the point where you're not precious about your ideas, you're creating them because you just want to create, and you're okay if other people take them and make them greater or better or change them. When you can get to that point where you're comfortable enough that you don't have to be right all the time, it's amazing how creative you can actually become. Right? It's incredible. And so one of the tenets that I live by is curiosity. I tell everybody, one of the things that I think is most important is you need to be super curious. Curious if you apply curiosity to almost every situation, almost always applies. If someone tells you something you think is outrageous, instead of like shutting it down, be curious as to how they got there. Ask them questions like, that is so fascinating. Like, help me understand it. And you'll find that then creativity actually comes to you, right? If you're super curious and you're not afraid of like people saying that's a stupid idea. Like, I'm so over the idea of like, I couldn't really care less if people think my ideas are stupid. It's actually kind of fun. It creates fun conversations. And then we actually, in our family, we have a big emphasis on humor. We like really, really emphasize having fun with each other and laughing a lot.
Yeah, I love that.
It's how much laughter breeds creativity and fun, and those things just all kind of live together. And so I think that's how you stay I think it's how you stay creative. Even like, I'm late in my career now, right? Like I'm towards the end of my career.
I don't know about that. Seems to me you're just getting started.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm the old guy in the room now, and you keep up by keeping yourself sharp on the creative side.
Yeah.
It will happen if you work at it for sure. Believe that you're creative, and it'll start there.
Love it. Well, in our last few minutes together, let's talk quickly. Starry-Eyed Sparks lightning round. Book, podcast, or person inspiring you right now?
Oh man, Unreasonable Hospitality by Will Guidara. An extraordinary read.
Brand you admire that's not your own. Who's doing a good job in addition to Swig?
I've actually always really admired the Ferrari brand because I think they're really clear on who they are and they don't really care what other people think. So probably
Good
Ferrari.
one.
I like the way they think.
What is your go-to walk-on song or pump-up song? You've got a big thing to do. What song do you go to?
Rockstar by NERD, which is actually Pharrell
Ooh.
Williams way back in the day. It's a great song. It's very much a pump-up song, but it's
Love
a good
it.
song.
One thing you'd like to try in the next year?
I'd actually really like to take a ballroom dancing class with my wife.
Oh,
That's a weird thing. She was a dancer in college, and that's one of the things I would like to do with her.
That's a great idea. What's your favorite mocktail or Swig combo?
Oh, man. I'm going to give you a couple. Sorry,
Okay.
I don't have just one. Island Time, absolute
Ooh.
crusher. Waikiki, but substitute Dr. Pepper Zero in the base, crusher. And then Raspberry Dream with Pepper Zero. I mean, forget it.
I gotta get there. I can see
It's
you
so- I
pairing
mean,
all of
Liz,
these swigs
it's
with
so good.
songs. Swig songs. Do you have songs that go with these to
We should. We don't
Complete
have
experience.
songs. Maybe that's
let's
the
come
next
up with our own
frontiers.
playlist? Okay.
Songs, yeah, that would be amazing.
Well, okay. We need a part 2, Todd Smith on Stay Starry-Eyed. I have so many more questions for you, but for now, so appreciate sharing your expertise, your experience, your ideas with us. Final 2 questions. What's one thing you want brand leaders to do or try after listening to today?
Be open. Genuinely be open. Stop shutting things down. Be genuinely open. Be okay being wrong. For sure.
And who is one creative brand leader you admire and think we should invite to Stay Starry-Eyed next?
Ooh, a creative brand leader that I admire. I've always admired Brian Nickel a lot. I love that guy, Mike. I never had the chance to work directly for him, but we'd stay connected on a couple of different things, and our paths almost crossed like fully twice. I really like Brian. I've had great conversations with him. He's a brilliant leader. He's super creative. He's one you should have on Story Ed. He's incredible.
That's a great idea. A fellow Yum alum who's now running Starbucks, turning that around as well.
He is. And you can see the tough side of that turn too. He's doing such a great job. So yeah, Brian is someone who I really admire a lot.
I love it. Well, Todd, thanks so much for the quality time together. I can't wait to come and visit you at Swig. Let's swig and ski.
You know what? You come to Salt Lake. You plan a few days at Park City, and you'll get all those drinks and more. It'll be great.
I love
fun.
it.
Thanks, Liz.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Stay Starry-Eyed podcast. I hope today's conversation sparked new ideas, strategies, and tools you can use to move your brand and business forward. If you enjoyed this episode, here's how you can help share it with your fellow brand leaders who need it most. Hit follow, share it with a friend, and please leave us 5 stars or a quick review. You know we love all the stars. You can also find show notes, resources, and additional inspiration at starryeyedstrategy.com. Until next time, stay starry-eyed.